No matter how much they frustrate us, though, bad bosses don't always get replaced. So that means it's really important to learn how to work for them and how to survive and thrive when you've got what you feel like is a bad boss. We're answering your questions on how to deal with those bosses. Donald Chernkowski this morning with Ascend Career and Life Strategies. Donald, this is something that I think a lot of people deal with, whether they're right or wrong. Sometimes people feel like their boss is not effective for them. Their management style doesn't work. What makes a bad boss?
Well, there's a number of things that can make a bad boss, Melody. Number one is just not giving clear, concise directions, kind of letting employees just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. People want instructions. They want to know how to do a good job. Right. And then a close number two is micromanaging, giving too much instruction, always looking over somebody's shoulder.
Right. Okay, so I can see how those would both be problematic, but how do you deal with them? As an employee, if you think you've got a bad boss, what do you do?
Well, you know, pop culture loves to make fun of bad bosses, from the pointy-haired boss on Dilbert to my personal favorite, Bill Lumbergh from the hilarious movie Office Space.
That is my favorite, yes.
So strategy number one is just don't quit. Ride it out for a while until you've tried some coping strategies. Okay. You can also maybe talk about a transfer to another department, another position within the organization.
Right, because you don't want to lose your job over it.
Certainly.
How about sitting down and talking with your boss? I feel like communicating could help.
You know, sometimes bosses are unaware of their behavior. So number one, getting them out of the office for lunch or coffee, and then employing what I call the sandwich technique. Talk about things that are working really well in the department. Then here's the operative word: tactfully bring up some points for change, perhaps, and then finally how it would improve performance for the department.
You know, some advice I've always gotten from a mentor of mine is this sandwich idea of buffer any criticism with compliments. And I feel like that's something people forget to do. Do you recommend like bringing out the positive points, saying when your boss does something well, even though you're not their superior? Do you recommend doing that?
Definitely. I call it catching your boss doing something right. And the conventional wisdom is that compliments and praise should flow from a supervisor to the employee. Right. But really talking to your supervisor about certain programs that they've implemented that have really worked and had a profound impact on job performance, tell them about those things. This could precipitate additional positive change in a bad boss.
And how about going and finding a mentor, somebody within your company?
You know, that is an outstanding strategy, whether you have a bad boss or not. That's something I personally incorporate a lot in the different positions I had in corporate America. Made all the difference in the world. They can give sound advice, they can act as a sounding board for you, and even recommend you for a promotion down the road.
Interesting. Okay, and last bit of advice, and I think this is probably the most important, Donald, when it comes to your health and well-being and your happiness ultimately. If you're working for a bad boss and it's affecting your personal life, what do you recommend?
At some point, enough is enough. If you've tried the diplomatic approach and tried implementing some changes, no job is worth sacrificing your health, your mental sanity, etc.
Right. Donald, I love it. Great advice this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And your employees have never had a bad boss.
Absolutely
I've heard that too. Never. All right, Donald, thanks.